This chapter is about gas exchange and ventilation. And before we talk about the different organs that are involved, I think it's a good idea to first clarify a few terminologies. So, what is ventilation? It is the movement of air in and out of the lungs in order to maintain a concentration gradient of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and you need muscles for this. In other words, ventilation is breathing. It's inhaling and exhaling, and this, of course, requires energy because muscles have to contract. So you in biology don't say breathing, but you say ventilation. But there are two things here, subterms that are important to know. It's called inhaling. That is breathing in, and exhaling, which is breathing out, and collectively you refer to as ventilation. The point of ventilation is the maintaining of a concentration gradient. And between the air in the alveoli and the blood, which carries a lot of CO2, and the air carries a lot of oxygen. And for diffusion to take place, you need this concentration gradient. And for that, you need to inhale and exhale. There is a second term which is important, which is referred to as gas exchange. And this is the passive movement, so there is no energy involved here. It's the passive movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the air spaces in the alveoli and the blood. And this is by diffusion. And diffusion, of course, requires this concentration gradient, which is maintained by ventilation. And then there's a third term which is worth knowing, and this is called cell respiration. And maybe you're surprised, but this directly has nothing to do with this chapter. Cell respiration is the breakdown of organic substances, for example, glucose. It's the breakdown of these organic substances in cells to release energy. It does require oxygen, it does produce CO2, but strictly speaking, it is a biochemical process which really does not have to do anything directly with ventilation and gas exchange. It is sometimes confused with the ventilation system because some people refer to the ventilation system also as the respiratory system, which is of course also correct, but because the word respiratory system, the word respiratory and cell respiration, it's kind of you're using the same term for different things. So cell respiration is when you convert glucose plus oxygen. It's not balanced right now, okay? And you convert it to CO2 and water. And if you want to balance this, you need 6 oxygen, 6 carbon dioxide, you make 6 water, and you release in this process, you release energy in the form of ATP. That is cell respiration, aerobic cell respiration, which has, I think, if you just look at the formula, you see it has really nothing directly to do with ventilation and gas exchange. Oxygen and CO2 are involved, but not in this context over here. So this was a short introduction into 3 important terms, and in different videos I'm going to talk more about the ventilation and gas exchange in more detail.